What's up, players? Today we're going to talk about a recording tip, and I haven't uploaded a video in quite some time. That's for a few reasons. The first being I've been busy with other projects, doing videos for those that are going to be long-term type of projects. 2, I have a life. And 3, most importantly, I don't want to be one of those YouTube channels that are just uploading mass quantities of videos just to get views and subscribers and money and stuff like that. So I really only want to do videos when I have something to say and something that I think that I, as well as you, can learn something from. So today is one of those times where I kind of had an epiphany while I was recording. And today's video topic might be, kind of obvious to some people, but, maybe you're a novice like me and, you haven't reached this epiphany yet. And really, it all revolves around the basis of mixing with headphones. Now, it's kind of like a trope that people say, don't mix with headphones, right? Don't ever mix with headphones. You have to get a pair of studio monitors. And, overall, that's good advice, right? Because headphones are not going to have a flat frequency response. And a pair of studio monitors are purposely meant for mixing purposes, right? It's going to give a very neutral frequency response. It's going to help really translate the mix well to different sources, whereas headphones aren't going to be able to do that, right? So there's other reasons why people say not to mix with headphones, but that's kind of the main reason. And when I started recording, I didn't know any better. I didn't even have monitors, right? I only had headphones, and a really crappy pair at that. And I started mixing with headphones, and that's when someone told me, no, don't do that. The first thing you have to do is get studio monitors. And I listened to that advice. And like I said, good advice. I'm not saying it's bad advice. Now, through my years of recording, 3 or 4 years maybe I've been recording, ever since then, I've never mixed with headphones when I was mixing, right? So, and sorry, losing my train of thought. I'll edit this. So I've always been relying on my studio monitors, and as I've talked about in many videos, this room is not even close to being acoustically treated. It sounds like total crap. It's a very small room. There's hard surfaces everywhere. There's no padding, no nothing, no bass traps, whatever the hell they call them. Nothing, right? So it's not ideal for mixing, especially with studio monitors or any speakers for that matter. However, over the years that I've been recording, my ears have become acclimated to these studio monitors in this room. And that's really because, one, I've just done a lot of songs in this setup, and I always compare all my mixes to other speaker systems. I'll go to my car, I'll go to my Bluetooth speaker, I'll listen on my phone, I'll listen to headphones, right? So subconsciously, I kind of got used to the studio monitors here, so it hasn't been that big of a deal. And I've just been dealing with it, right? Now, as you guys may know, if you're a fan of the channel, I love my mono recordings, right? My whole album's in mono recordings. Everything else is in mono recordings except like very few songs here and there. And there's many reasons for that. I've been through it in other videos. We're not going to go through that right now. But another reason that I guess I never realized or mentioned is whenever I would try a stereo mix on these studio monitors, I just didn't like it. And that's really because of the reason that this room is a mess, right? Acoustically speaking, well, I guess, and clutter-wise, it's a mess, right? So every time I would try it, I would try panning stuff, and I'm like, it just sounds muddy. It loses all its focus, right? And it wasn't until today, for God knows what reason, I was mixing with my headphones on. I don't know why there wasn't a reason, a rhyme. Maybe I was overdubbing or something. I had the headphones on. I don't know. And I started to pan the mix with the headphones. And I was like, oh, I was really liking this, right? I was panning the reverb, panning the vocals to hard panning, and I was getting some like psychedelic effect with delay. And I was like, oh my God, baby, this tastes like mwah. I was loving it. And, I was maybe mixing for 30 minutes, an hour. I took my headphones off to listen to the studio monitors because that's how I wanted to get the final mix. I pressed play, and I was like, this sounds like crap. And that's when I realized it was the room messing with me all these years, thinking that stereo mixes just sucked. When I listened to it on headphones, it sounded mwah, right? It sounded beautiful. Now, I'm not using my headphones for a final, EQ of the mix, but to get that stereo mix, my headphones have become essential. Once again, this might seem like an obvious lesson here, But for me, this was like a game changer, right? Like moving forward, whenever I get to the point of my mix where I'm like, okay, all my levels are relatively where I want them to be, now's the time to start panning, I know I have to rely on my headphones. And, you know, like everything in life, there's a give and take. I have to use my headphones, I have to go back to the monitors, I have to go to the headphones, back to the monitors, right? But it just, you know, the reason I think it's an important lesson is, you know, you get caught in certain tropes or lessons that people tell you, like, for example, you know, never mix with headphones, and you kind of just get stuck in that rut, and you don't think outside the wheel until you're put on a project that really totally throws you through for a loop, right? And yeah, I don't know. So next time you're in the studio and you're thinking, I shouldn't do that because A, B, and C, fuck it, maybe try doing something else. And maybe it sounds like crap, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you learn a thing or two, maybe you don't. I don't know. Just try new things, because especially when we're novices like ourselves, trying new things is how you learn things and how you discover things. And fine, if you want to sound like everybody else, sure, do everything else that everyone else does in their mixes, but I like to think outside the box. All right, hopefully that was a quick video for you. I'll see you soon. Probably, who knows?